Is John Weber. I'm a licensed real estate broker with Charter One Realty. My office happens to be at the entrance of Berkeley Hall, but we have offices all over. And this is kind of the first of its kind marketing attempt here to have people interact with members of a club here in the Lowcountry. And these members have graciously given their time to be on the webinar to answer some questions that I know a lot of people probably have on their mind. So with that said, our participants are Stacy Steinberg. Stacy is from Painesville, Ohio. She is a new member at Berkeley Hall. And something interesting to note, she is not a golfer and her husband's not a golfer. So, which actually I think there's quite a few at Berkeley Hall that are like that, a lot of clubs. Charles White, 41 years with IBM, and he is also a graduate of the University of Kentucky, like me. Robin Millard is the, you'll have to correct me if I'm this, chairperson of the Ambassador Program, correct? Hold on. And she has been a member for 6 years, and she is from New Jersey. And Mark Slocum is from Stowe, Vermont, and has been a member for 5 or 6 years. Number one question, which is on a lot of people's mind that I drive around as a buyer's agent. Why did you select the area? Why is this area over other areas? Why this area over other areas you might have been?
John, I'm going to try to answer as well. I chose this area because, quite frankly, we established a bunch of criteria of what we were looking for in a home, and this area had it all. It had proximity to all those cities. It had great medical care, 2 local hospitals. It had 2 local colleges and universities. It was, besides the outstanding climate, it is very easy to get around here, and it's very easy to get comfortable here.
Did you look at a lot of areas?
Yeah, I guess I probably was the extreme. My wife and I spent 14 months visiting 40 communities between Virginia and the Florida border, and we were agnostic as to whether it was seashore or it was mountains. But after visiting 40 communities, we definitely decided on the Bluffton area, and then, of course, on Berkeley Hall.
Wow, that is a testimonial there.
Wow. I also know that Chip did a lot of investigating on financials, and he chose Berkeley Hall because he felt that they were very financially secure, and it was a ongoing community that was going to sustain itself.
That's a very good point. That was one of the things that we looked at too, John, is the financial aspect of it. But some of the points that Mark brought up there, we looked at the coastline of North Carolina. I was currently living in the Charlotte area and commuting out there from business. But we looked at the North Carolina area near the South Carolina border in a gated community similar to what we have here, but much larger. That was primarily the only community that we looked at, and in addition to vacationing in the Hilton Head area over 30 years, we already were familiar with a lot of the growth and activity and helped with our decision to live off island versus on island, primarily anticipating vacation, traffic, and so forth. Here we eliminate a lot of that and have ease of access out to 95 or to north or south of Beaufort or to Savannah. And one of the key points that I think Mark brought up there is the fact of hospitals and doctor care and so forth. I had a knee replacement shortly after we moved here in 2015, and was able to find a doctor, do the research on finding a doctor, fabulous orthopedic surgeon that was right here in the Beaufort area. Wonderful results. So a lot of things that can be touched on as to how you decide on things, and that was mine.
Now, several of you have mentioned, looked into the finances of Berkeley Hall. I mean, did you meet with the general manager to do that, or how did you get that information?
Well, that information is readily available from the general manager, from our CFO, and from Alex, who is our marketing executive. That we post that information all over. They have it. We're a member-owned community. We have no debt whatsoever. There is no developer. It's all run by the members. We have several $1 million in our capital reserve. And generally speaking, for the last 3-4 years, we have lived within our budget and controlled things very, very well.
I was going to say all that, but thank you very much. That's great. And that's all true. So that segues into the next question, because you all seem to have looked up and down the coastline and throughout the Southeast, and you kind of settled on Bluffton area. Once you get here, why Berkeley Hall? Why Berkeley Hall as a club, as a gated community? You've got so many choices.
I walked in here, and the first minute we were here, there were people sitting outside at a table eating, and they all stood up and said, "Who are you? Are you coming here? How can we help you?" It was amazing. And I don't know how we got dropped here and we're lucky enough to be here, but the minute that I don't think we were here 15 minutes in our house, and somebody knocked on the door and said, "Do you play golf?" And we said, "Yes." And they said, "Good, be on the tee Sunday at 10 o'clock for a couples game." And from then on, I don't ever remember not feeling at home. Stacy could probably answer that too, because they're new and they just.
And not a golfer.
I just want to say I'm completely different from all of them. And that is that my husband and I knew nothing of Hilton Head. We never vacationed here. We didn't know anything about Bluffton. And we were actually looking in Lake Norman and decided we didn't like all that traffic. And, I wasn't going to move there. So somebody told us about Bluffton. So let me give you a short story. So we finally come down to Bluffton. We were in Florida. And I remembered that there was a friend of mine that moved here. I texted her and I said, "Hey, do you live here?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Come get us and show us around." The first stop was at Berkeley Hall. We never left. We couldn't get in. We couldn't get in, of course, the gate. We go around. Nobody was at the realtor's office. We kept going around the building, and there was a builder. Next thing I know, we're in his truck. My husband tells him what we want, because we're not golfers, but we like to boat. Next thing I know, we're on this piece of property overlooking the river. And then he shows us a house that he had built for someone, a neighbor. And it was like we go back to the hotel. My husband, he said, "We will never build." He says to me, "I like that lot. I like that builder, and we're going to build." And that's how we got here.
Wow.
And we kind of did it all backwards, right? Because we never did go to the club. We ended up 2 weeks after we moved in. I called Robin. I said, "I think it's time that we meet people." And that's how we've met these wonderful people. I'm thankful to Robin, because I feel like if we had bought a house like in a neighborhood, we would have hated it. There's such a community here. I feel like it's family. We've never been more social since college that we have been here. So
Who's the builder?
everything fell into place for us.
Who's your builder?
And my builder was Ed Johns, Lowcountry Builder.
Oh, okay, sure.
Behind you. Right.
Yeah, he's in our office building. Yeah.
Right. So we have a little bit different story than most people. There was absolutely no research. We just did it.
You got lucky enough to fall into Berkeley
Yeah,
Hall.
there you go. And
Okay.
there you go.
The thing that distinguishes Berkeley Hall are our people, and I really do believe that.
Right.
We really make an effort to embrace new members and make sure they're included in everything, so that they're not left to flounder. I
Right.
mean,
Well,
I
that's
don't know if
important.
that's at any place else, but I know it certainly makes us very different from any place I've ever been.
Yeah, that was our third question is, how would you describe the people in the community? What are they like? Are they open to new neighbors? I mean, of course they are, but not everybody is a golfer. You have your own social situation there.
Well, I was just going to say this is that most of us have children. So some of our lifelong friends have been when we met them with kids at school and we've grown up with them. But when you get to be in retirement age and you're moving and you don't really know anyone, it's hard. It's really hard to meet people. But not here. I mean, it was just like I'm saying, it's like a family. Like you've even said, it seems like we've been here forever.
There's very few clicks here. There's not any place that I would feel uncomfortable going to an event and putting myself at a table. I mean, I would call the people whose table it was and say, can I sit with you? They would never say no. That's what it's like here, really.
John, in addition to the people that living here on a regular basis or on a part-time basis, in addition to that, you have to recognize the staff that is here as well. Whether it's you're driving in and you pass somebody that's working on the golf course or working on the street or whatever, you wave to them, they wave back, or they're waving at you before you even get to them. And any assistance that you need, they're there to help. And I think the staff needs to be included in that discussion when you talk about people living here and so forth.
That's true. Absolutely.
John, I'd just like to add that what everybody is saying is that this is an extremely welcoming community. People here, they don't care what. People here don't care about your background, what you came from, accept you for what you are. They welcome you. When we were building our house 7 months before we moved in, the people on our street threw a cocktail party so that we could meet all the neighbors, such that the day we moved into our house, we knew every one of our neighbors.
Okay, for people that are new to the area, what is the best way to get involved or engaged in the community? And that might be, Berkeley Hall, playing golf, or even Bluffton.
Well, first of all, the ambassadors, wherever you're assigned, we know your background a little bit. I assign you an ambassador. That ambassador gives you a gift bag that has free lessons at the health club, number one. We encourage everybody to either go to a class at the gym to learn to play cards, to take a beginner golf. And we make sure that at any of the new events, they're included at a table. So we give them the start. And there's so many things they can learn to do. We have beginner teachings of everything from cards to mahjong for the women, from golf to pickleball and tennis. There's a new tennis group with, we make sure that I align them with an ambassador who does something that they enjoy and they're into, have the same interests. And then we get them involved, and hopefully the men, it's very easy. They just have to get online. They need $5 and know how to get on a tea time. And they'll, there's a game market. I'm like, there's a game every day or 2 or 3 games every day. So that's not a problem. And they welcome the men too. They really do.
Okay.
If you want to play golf, there's no excuse for it, or to be able to get in the game each day of the week, and definitely be able to meet people there. And that even goes up through Saturday morning. And so getting involved, just step out and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and go from there. And Robin's right on point there with the ambassadors. Be able to get you connected that way, or have dinner, and I guarantee you somebody will walk up to your table and say hello.
Well, that's true. If you eat dinner here and nobody knows who you are, all of us walk up and say, we don't know you. Who are you? we do.
That's true. I had a client that he was like a 2 handicap, and he played all the golf courses around, and he said the Berkeley Hall North course was as good as any course in the entire area.
Yeah, and people who don't have low handicaps don't have to be afraid to get involved, because there's a lot of games during the week that are ABC games, so that they have everybody involved.
But to that point also, just a quick comment there, we have people that are new members would say within the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, where the wife did not play golf, but wanted to learn how to play golf. And now they're playing in groups during the days of the week and on weekends, and then getting involved with it. You find both ends of the spectrum of people being able to play golf and skill. So don't be bashful about playing golf if you haven't played golf before.
Okay. Here's a good question. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do?
Speaking for myself, I would have done it a lot sooner than I did.
That's why I was just going to say the same thing. We wouldn't have waited so long.
My only regret was I didn't come 5 years earlier. I could have come, and I procrastinated and figured I might could find what I was looking for where I lived, and then I finally just got disgusted and decided to bite the bullet and move.
And that's from Stowe, Vermont.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Joanne Begay. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
To the person that said they looked in Virginia and also here in Hilton Head, why did you cancel Virginia?
Well, I looked at Virginia, and then honestly, the weather was a factor. Virginia is nice for several months of the year, but then it's not as nice as I thought. There was too much traffic and congestion. The taxes were very high in Virginia. Here, the cost of living is probably 80 to 85% of what it was up north. Taxes are ridiculously low. And I think here you have a better climate to be outdoors every year.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of that sentence. A better what?
I think you have much better climate and more opportunities to be outdoors, whether it's playing golf or pickleball or just going for a walk or a jog or going on paddleboarding or kayaking. You can have many more opportunities, I think, here than you can in Virginia.
Well,
I was just thinking of the area by Williamsburg.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, we looked at communities in Williamsburg. To be honest with you, I did not want to live in a resort, and to me, Williamsburg is a resort. It's nice being near a resort where you can take advantage of their amenities and their restaurants, but it's hard to make friends when you're living in a resort because people are there just for short periods of time. I wanted to find a community and a group of friends and a more stable community where people actually live full time. I
lived in Williamsburg when I first got into business in '85 and '86, and we loved Williamsburg. Really great town, but you're going to get snow in the winter. You're going to have a lot of 40-degree and rainy days, and it's a different climate. It really is.
I just came there last night, driving through. There was snow.
There was snow, and last year I think Chip said there were only 3 days in a row that he couldn't play golf, and that was it wasn't because there was snow. But yeah,
rain.
Yeah, maybe it was rain, but it's never. I've never worn a winter coat yet.
Okay, and I have one more question. Can I go ahead?
Sure.
Okay. I guess it's Charlie who said he lives off island. Is that correct?
Well, yes. My comment was comparing Hilton Head Island itself versus living off island, what we consider off island, living here in Berkeley Hall.
And Berkeley Hall is off island? I didn't realize that. Is it?
Yes, you're not exactly on the island. You're 4 miles.
It's actually 8 miles to the bridge.
Right.
Okay.
But there's an advantage to that because, first of all, if there were hurricanes, which there hadn't been in 100 years until last year, we don't really get evacuated the same way, and we never left any of them, and we were perfectly fine. Really had no damage at all, and there's less congestion here, especially during the summer months, than it is on the island.
Okay.
I mean, it's very close, and we shop on the island all the time, but we just think living off island, you know. You have
an opportunity. You have an opportunity to interface with the island very easily. We go on island all the time for dinner, visiting with friends that do live on island. But when you're here in Berkeley, there's a lot of access to north of us in the Beaufort area. There's wonderful golf courses there. There's nice restaurants over there in Savannah. You're about 30 minutes either way from our location here. I would say 30 minutes from everything. When you take in consideration the Savannah Airport, Savannah Hilton Head Airport, you're 30 minutes away. It was very
You
convenient.
didn't take a picture of my card, did you? Okay, thank you.
All of the growth is really in Bluffton, honestly. All of the growth is going west, and it's in Bluffton, and that's what makes it one of the most popular areas on the East Coast, actually. And with that said, we're coming to the end of the 30 minutes, and I did want to offer the audience the opportunity to come down and visit Berkeley Hall. We do have a discovery package where we stay 2 nights, and the 3rd night they will give you complimentary if it's before April 1st. So you should take advantage of that. And I will be in touch with everyone. Send you a full digital packet of Berkeley Hall. I can't thank the participants enough for taking their time to share their ideas. And thank everybody. So anyway, thank you, and we'll do another one sometime. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
John, I would just like to offer as well, if anybody would like to talk further to a member, I'm happy to share my contact information, and I'd be glad to talk to anybody on a one-on-one basis if they'd like to about joining Berkeley Hall.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. And you're free to furnish our contact information.
Yeah, you have it all, John, so.
Same thing from
I will follow up and make some connections with some of the people in the audience and you all. So I really appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Our
All
pleasure.
right.